Good evening, I'm Kyle Clark. 2 chases involving Aurora Police have ended in crashes this week. 9 News reporter Shalima Maharaj is in Aurora for us, and Shalima, officers were allowed to start both those chases because of a recent change in policy by APD.
Yeah, and Aurora PD's pursuit policy expanded on March 5th, essentially giving officers the green light to go after people in more situations. Now, police data since then shows us that officers have been involved in 82 chases and made 63 arrests through the end of June.
We want a successful apprehension of the suspects.
Police pursuit policy is something Ed Obayashi knows well. He's a national expert on the subject, and he's been in policing for the last 30 years.
They exercised a vehicle contact maneuver, which terminated the pursuit with no injuries.
On Wednesday night, Aurora Police chased a pickup truck with stolen plates. APD says it matched the description of a vehicle connected to a burglary. This chase was authorized by a policy change, allowing officers to go after stolen cars, people suspected of drunk driving, and anyone believed to have committed gun crimes.
I saw what is probably best described as maybe a routine pursuit.
What wasn't routine, the suspect drove through a car wash, striking another vehicle inside, before eventually being stopped by the cops.
So it's always going to be a balancing test.
This was one of 2 APD-involved pursuits in a single week that ended in a crash. This one happened on Friday at 3 a.m. and resulted in a vehicle crashing through the window of a money tree.
Property damage will result inevitably to the vehicles, or in this case, like the storefront.
But Obayashi says it comes down to whether the risks are proportionate to the benefit.
The most important factor in these pursuits is the training that the officers have received and their ability to maintain their thinking process.
Well, since APD put their policy change into effect, what's happened is we have seen 2 innocent people hurt, one seriously and the other one walked away with minor injuries. We reached out to APD for a request for an interview. They declined that request. Live in Aurora, Shalima Maharaj, 9 News.
Another spicy hot day around the Denver metro area, and then, like clockwork, in came the afternoon thunderstorms. It complicated some folks' early weekend outdoor plans, like the folks who were boating out on Boulder Reservoir. Let's chat with 9 News meteorologist Corey Reppenhagen for a look ahead of the weekend. Hey, Corey.
Hey, yeah, we're going to see much more heat as we get through the weekend, and isolated thunderstorms both Saturday and Sunday, but only about a 15% coverage. Here were the high temperatures reported across the area today. 93 was the official high temperature at DIA today in Denver, 92 in Grand Junction, 88 in Durango, 72 was the high temperature in Leadville. A radar picture, pretty quiet right now. We didn't really see too much action across the state of Colorado today. 2 days in a row without severe weather, but it'll be back tomorrow, but it should not include Denver. Here's the forecast for Denver as we go through the day tomorrow, getting those high temperatures up to about 94 degrees. We'll see it try to cloud up and rain again tomorrow, but only about a 15% coverage along the front range, including Denver, and the rest of the high temperatures across the area tomorrow. It's going to be a hot one, 70s up in the mountains. There's your salvation. I'll have more on the forecast for the rain and the heat that's coming throughout the rest of the week, coming up in the full forecast in just a few minutes.
Westminster police say somebody found what appears to be a human bone in an open space area this afternoon. It was somebody walking along the trail near 122nd Avenue and Park Center Drive who spotted it. Investigators aren't sure about the age of the bone, how long it was out there. The Boulder County Sheriff's Office brought in a cadaver dog, and the animal did not find any other remains. On the same day that James Craig created an Amazon account in February 2023, that same account was used to buy metal arsenic. According to testimony from his murder trial, about a week after that purchase, Craig's wife Angela began searching online for her symptoms: dizziness, strange shaking, cold lips. That testimony came from a homicide detective with the Aurora Police Department today. She spent most of the morning on the witness stand going over digital records, telling jurors that the Amazon account was created under the name Jim Craig, associated with a known Gmail account for James Craig. She also testified that on that same day, somebody used a computer taken from Craig's dental office to search for a number of things, including Is arsenic detectable? Prosecutors allege that Craig used that poison and others to kill his wife, Angela. Testimony in the murder trial is scheduled to resume on Monday. President Trump made Aurora and Colorado more broadly the focus of his promised immigration crackdown. Well, we now know how many arrests ICE has made here, not because of transparency from the Trump administration, but because a lawsuit forced ICE to release the numbers. It was because of a lawsuit from researchers at UCLA that we know that ICE made more than 2,200 arrests in Colorado and Wyoming during the first 5 months of Trump's term. That is almost 5 times the number of ICE arrests during the same time frame last year. Now, it's not clear from the numbers released whether these arrests were targeting violent criminals or simply people in the country without authorization. Next week, the state expects to receive federal funding for schools that was withheld by the Trump administration, but just a tiny portion of it. The U.S. Education Department froze more than $6 billion for schools around the country. They said they wanted to go through all the grants to make sure that they aligned with President Trump's priorities. $70 million of that funding was meant for Colorado. Today, the state's Education Department said it was told it would get $12.8 million by Monday. That's money to fund after-school programming. The state is still waiting on more than $60 million. School districts have warned, without the funding that they were expecting, that they hired people with, that they put together programs with, they'll have to make significant cuts. Denver's leaders are making significant progress agreeing on which improvement projects should be part of a $900 million bond package that voters could consider in November. Last week, City Council got its first look at the list of projects, and they were not happy. They wanted a bunch of items removed. They wanted other things added. Well, new list came out today. The biggest addition, $20 million for a new skate park and recreation hub in southeast Denver, money to fix the 6th and 8th Avenue bridges, and funding for a first responder training center.
I'm much happier with a list with prices.
It is better than it was, yes.
All right, we're making some progress, except the biggest loser was the Denver Zoo, apparently. They were initially supposed to get $50 million for a new exhibit. Now they've been knocked down to just $3 million. So the Colorado Rockies are on pace to have one of the worst seasons in MLB history. But you know, they're drawing bigger crowds now than they did during their World Series run in 2007. 9 News reporter Rhea Jaz out at Coors Field for us. She's been asking fans, why are you here?
Yeah, you'd think fans would be staying far, far away from this team, but Coors Field was buzzing tonight. It's a Friday night, and we found out from fans that baseball means more to them than just the score.
I'm from Chicago. That's why I'm wearing a Chris Bryant jersey. I go for the Rockies or the Cubs, kind of in between both.
Today, I'm pulling for the Rockies. I'm a Red Sox fan, but I've never been to a Rockies game, so.
This is just because I'm a baseball fan.
Believe it or not, the Rockies are playing the Minnesota Twins tonight.
And the Rockies are on their way to being the worst team in MLB history.
I know, Jan, a lot of us feel that way, but despite one of the worst records in baseball, the Rockies are drawing more than 30,000 fans per game on average. That's actually more than they did in 2007, the year they went to the World Series.
They feel sorry for them.
Maybe it's pity, maybe it's tradition, or maybe, as Jan proves, baseball just brings people together.
Our relatives from Chicago came to visit.
I showed up today because I'm visiting my son.
We're really excited about Rockies baseball. We're also part of a bachelor party.
People want to see the iconic Coors Field.
This field is legendary.
Others are showing up
Just for the vibes, just for a good time.
Yeah. For the vibes.
I think they show up for a losing team. Number one, baseball's still the great American sport.
Baseball is like a picnic.
It doesn't matter what night of the summer it is, like most of the seats are filled, especially on weekends and stuff.
Plus, tickets are cheap.
Weirdly, I got them for free, kind of.
Kind of priced out of the Dodger games right now.
Around $23.
Whether it's nostalgia, seeing your favorite team, or just something to do, the fans are showing up, and some still have hope.
And we're gonna hit a couple home runs today and probably win by 12.
Not quite 12, but a win is a win, 6-4, and I think Rockies fans this season are taking victories however they come. Reporting live in Denver, Rhea Jha, 9 News.